Everybody okay with that? All right. Okay, we're going to call to order the Sacramento Local Agency Formation Commission meeting for Wednesday, March 4th. Should be noted the day after Election Day. So to all of our friends and colleagues, congratulations on just surviving yesterday. We obviously live in California, so we won't know the results until, you know, Christmas or sometime therein. Just kidding. In a few weeks, we'll know. Right, Susan? That's what they tell us. Yeah, it could be worse, I'm sure. All right, let's start with the, do you need to do the call to order first, or yeah, go ahead and do your, roll call.
Commissioner Peters?
Here.
Moore?
Here.
Budge?
Here.
Ashby?
Here.
Jones?
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
All right, great, and then we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. Maybe Linda Budge would do that for us from Rancho Cordova.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great. Thank you, ladies. We are anticipating Supervisor Frost here just any moment, but let's go ahead and get started.
Would you like to read the Metro Cable
Yes.
announcement?
Let me grab that. I don't have any speakers signed up either, so if you have some, there she is.
I do not.
Welcome, Sue Frost. That's all right, you're over here. We just started. All right, this meeting of the Local Agency Formation Commission is cablecast live on Metro Channel 14, Local Government Affairs Channel on Comcast, Consolidated Communication, and AT&T Uverse. Meeting is also webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. Today's meeting will be repeated on Friday, March 6th at 6 a.m. and Monday, March 9th at 9 a.m., both on Channel 14.
I'll be sure to get up early to watch it.
Please do, and stay up late if you would. Record it and bring it back to us. This meeting is also closed caption. We ask that you please turn off any cell phones or noise-making devices. Speaker slips are located on the table in the back of the room and also at the front podium. You can fill those out and hand them to our esteemed clerk over here in the sparkly blue, looking lovely.
Thank you.
All right, that's it for our announcements. What do you have for us? I think we start off here with the consent calendar.
Yes.
Madam Chair, with one point of clarification on the consent calendar.
Yes.
The item number 4, Special District Advisory Committee. We updated that report. You have that in front of you. The final ballot was omitted from the transmittal for your agenda packet, so we provided it this evening. So there's four recommended candidates. For
Right. So that's the additional page that you've left at each of our seats. So we have it now.
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much. I will entertain a motion.
Move approval?
I have a question.
Okay, yes. Sorry, question first. Oh, yeah.
So there are not 6 individuals?
Correct. There were 2 ballots that were submitted after the deadline. The consensus of the subcommittee was to honor those who adhere to the process. So there's 4 candidates recommended for your commission to approve for the SDAC, Special District Advisory Committee.
Okay, and so will there be another opportunity for those that submitted late?
Certainly. Well, the meetings are public, open, everyone's invited and allowed to participate, encouraged to participate. These terms run, all terms are 2-year terms, and they alternate expiring, so there will be another recruitment process at the end of this calendar year. We'll have 7 new openings to allow new members to apply.
So we're moving forward with vacancies right now,
Correct.
and that's what the committee recommended. That's not what was recommended in the packet. That's what I'm just a little
Right.
confused
That was
about.
my error, and we've since been able to get clarification from the subcommittee. The subcommittee is the special district members and alternate members of your commission.
Okay.
But there were 2 people that applied late.
Correct.
And so originally in the board packet, you had included them.
I did in error, yes.
Okay. And so the subcommittee, though, is suggesting that we move forward with just the 4 who adhered to the appropriate timeline. However, that does leave vacancies.
Correct.
Yes, and part of the goal is to have a broad representation. So I'm not sure I understand why we would leave vacancies when we have people who are willing to serve.
You want to ask members of the subcommittee to weigh in on why they made that decision? Ms. Jones?
Yep, coming up, thank you. A decision like this shouldn't be made after the fact. And what did occur is that there were board clerks who called the LAFCO office asking if they could have an extension of time because the board meeting, for example, was on a Thursday night. And the reply was, no, it's 5 o'clock Thursday. So we had special district boards who would have nominated someone, and they did not because the deadline was affirmed. Oh. That is a problem. Now, for the next SDAC meeting, which will be at the end of this month, I'm sure we can entertain it and discuss the idea of if we have vacancies that are not filled through the correct number of applicants, we can institute a practice where we perhaps would entertain late and or reissue calls for nomination. But to do it after the fact would not be fair.
Okay.
It sounds like you'd need to change the bylaws also.
Yeah, is there an opportunity, Mr. Lockhart, then? Because I see where Supervisor Frost is coming from. The two people that we didn't include are representative of districts that are not duplicated by the ones already on here. So that would presumably be a good thing. But I understand what Ms. Jones is saying, that others were not granted that same exception to apply later. Is there a way that we could move these 4 names forward but open the 2 vacancies back up?
Well, I think someone just mentioned the bylaws. This is consistent with the bylaws of the SDAC. I think perhaps the course of action would be as suggested by Commissioner Jones. We can place this as an agenda item for the next meeting of the SDAC and take the temperature, if you will, see if there's an interest in amending the bylaws to allow for an extension in the event that...
or a reopening for the 2 vacancies?
Correct.
Rather than extension, because we'd like to move forward with the 4, I think.
Sure.
And so maybe if we could just reopen for the 2 vacancies and allow people to apply and let the folks know that called in and were told no, and the other 2 that applied, that might be good. Mm-hmm. Could you get that answer for us?
I will report back on the outcome of the SDAC.
And for clarification purposes, sure. Madam Chair, I believe there is, doesn't this just leave 1 vacancy?
The seats...
I think it's...
I thought it was 6 seats.
There are 7 seats available, so there would be, right now, 3 filled by process, and we could reopen. My one concern about doing that is in the past, we've had, it's often feast or famine through this exercise, and then we find ourselves with more interest expressed than vacancies available.
Sure, well, that's okay. That's a good problem to have when there's more people that want to do it. But I think to Supervisor Frost's point, you have Consumnes, Wilton, Arcade, and Cordova, which are great and happy to have them, bring them on board, but we're leaving out Rio Linda and Slough House that both also applied. So I think would everyone be satisfied with getting that answer next time and moving forward with these 4 names?
I totally concur to strive to fill all vacancies.
Sure.
I think we need to do it in a more formal process.
No problem. Go ahead, just punch up.
I don't know how to turn. There we go. Sorry, I'm still getting used to buttons.
That's okay.
I just wanted to call to your attention that Rio Linda is represented. Stacy Bastian from the Rio Linda Recreation and Park District is on there.
Great.
So Rio Linda does have a representative.
I guess what I meant was not in the group that we were moving forward
right.
today. Yes. All right. Then we have, does your motion hold?
Sure.
Okay. We have a motion for consent and a second for consent, and you have your voting up here. Just hit the yes or no button and it'll automatically register your vote.
I need to abstain at least on the minutes. Do
Okay,
we have
please
enough
note that-
votes if somebody abstains?
Yeah,
You can't make the motion if you're abstaining, so
Oh.
the clerk can
will.
note that, and I'll make the motion and
Okay.
the second from wherever it came from.
Okay.
Please note that the consent in its whole has been moved by Supervisor Peters and seconded by Supervisor Frost. Ms. Budge will be voting and abstaining only as to the item of minutes, which is item 1. Yes? Everybody's locked in?
Correct.
We are good to go. Please note her as a yes and abstaining on item 1.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right. The ever so controversial consent is handled. Let's move on to public hearings.
For the public hearing, first one is the proposed fiscal year 2020-21 budget.
The budget before you this evening is essentially a status quo budget, consistent with a minor modification from last year's adopted budget to reflect changes in some of the compensation and benefits of your staff provided through the home agencies of the county and city of Sacramento. No changes to the assessments of contributing agencies, the cities or special districts or the county are proposed with this budget. We've been able to maintain a fairly even keel fiscally by following the direction of your commission and finding ways to reduce costs where possible, such as changing our insurance carriers, and modifying some of our security processes and some just day-to-day function of the office. So the amount of, proposed for allocation is $1.013 million, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any. Otherwise, that concludes my presentation.
All right, we have just a quick question here from Ms. Peters.
When does your lease come up?
It comes up next summer.
Next summer, in 21?
Correct.
Okay, so
Correct.
hopefully you won't have a rent increase, but that's,
Actually, just by interest, because of the way the market, our rent, we do it in 5-year increments, and this lease was a reduction in cost. By the way, we were able to negotiate a reduction.
we'll
so-
hope for
Well,
another.
how about that?
We'll
Good
try.
negotiating, Don.
Thank you.
I'll move the item.
Second.
All right, moved by Supervisor Peters and seconded by Ms. Budge. All in favor, oh, we're gonna do our, you
Roll
wanna,
call.
there we go.
Do we
you.
don't have to hit save or something?
There you go. Thank
right.
you. All in favor, motion passed.
We're all set there.
Next item is the Rancho Murrieta Community Service District final MSR and sphere of influence update.
This item was before your commission last month in February as the draft municipal service review. I thought there was a fairly robust and engaging discussion by the commission of concerns and issues regarding public safety, any kind of emergency safety planning, wildland, wildfire concerns, and also the nature of the treated water program, particularly the recycled water program, that's been in existence for 30 plus years and operated by the Rancho Murrieta Community Services District. As a result of that input from your commission, we worked further with the staff of the district to augment the municipal service review. We have a more complete discussion of the recycled water / purple pipe program. There's been no health issues raised in the 30 plus years of the process. They're continuing to adhere to their zero discharge permit requirement. As they draw water out of the Consumnes River, they don't put any water back in. It's shared with or conveyed to the golf courses for irrigation, outdoor irrigation. And a couple of years ago, the board took action to encourage and increase use of recycled water throughout the community for exterior landscaping. So I think that it's much more clear now in the report how that process is exercised. Also, I spoke with the current interim chief of the County Office of Emergency Services, as well as members, staff of the Sacramento Fire Service, Fire District. The Rancho Murrieta is not a life safety or fire district. They provide water, wastewater treatment, recycled water, garbage collection, and security.
We had a great presentation from them last month.
Yes.
And they have a robust report in here.
Right.
We do have one question from Commissioner for you here.
Absolutely.
From Commissioner Budge.
Okay, and I'm sorry to ask.
That's okay.
Having not read the balance of the thing, but what are they had come to the Metro Fire Foundation, call it that. That's not the technical name for the thing, but and asked if the foundation could fund the acquisition of pieces of equipment and a place to store them and that kind of thing. So, but we declined. So, what provisions are they making for fighting wildland fires?
Are you speaking of Rancho Murrieta CSD?
Yeah.
I would defer to the general manager, Mark Martin is here right now.
Good evening.
Hi there.
Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. It's always fun. So in regard to that, that was the Fire Council, the Rancho Murrieta Fire Council, which is a different entity than the CSD itself. Okay. So we as a district do not provide emergency services in that capacity of firefighting equipment and such. We would work with Sacramento Fire. There is a fire department station actually there within the community.
Right.
And then they would engage either CAL FIRE or other entities as needed in the case of a fire. So I'm not as familiar with equipment requests in particular. We have had discussions with that group, and that's also with the Homeowners Association, the RMA, Rancho Murrieta Association they're called, about possibly as part of the grant, the discussion they had with us was as part of the grants that they're seeking is to obtain equipment to help knock down brush and trim trees and that sort of thing. Is the kind of thing that they were looking for. Right. So that I'm aware of. Us in particular as a district, we have procured equipment for those areas around equipment or district facilities like our water treatment plant, which is out in the wildlands.
But you defer your fire service to Sac Metro.
Correct.
Yeah.
We do not perform that function.
Well, and I appreciate knowing that. It's a small board, it's a small foundation, and really just basically supports fire camp and some things like that. But the problem was, and we didn't want to put anybody in a bind. It's just that it seemed like this was going to be some very heavy-duty equipment that the people involved may not be trained to operate adequately, and we didn't think that was a good project to get involved in.
Yeah, my understanding is the form of the Fire Council right now and the grants that they're seeking is more on education and outreach, on emergency preparedness, essentially. I think that's where they're focused right now.
Good.
Very good. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, so this is the final municipal service review and sphere of influence update, just so you know. What do you need from us? You need a motion?
A motion to accept and adopt the resolution.
All right.
Move the staff recommendation.
Been moved by Ms. Frost. Would you like to second it, Ms. Peters?
I'd be happy
All right,
to.
seconded. Your voting is up in front of you.
Was it Peters the first, and who was the second?
I was second.
Frost
was first.
and then
Thank
Peters.
you.
I did write it on your cheat sheet for you for later, in case you missed it.
Thank you.
All right, teamwork.
She did good.
We are all set. Thank you very much. That is the last public hearing item. We may have some, do you have anything for us, Mr. Lockhart?
I just want to remind the commission that we are in recess per your decision last month. We are in recess for the month of April. We'll reconvene in May.
Okay. Ms. Peters?
Thank you. In our board packet, we have a letter from, or an email from a gentleman named Michael Clahosi.
Correct, yes, ma'am.
And about Arden Manor or Del Paso Manor Water District facilities. It's the it's come up multiple times at our meetings, and I wonder, have you had any correspondence with them about what they can, how they can help themselves out of the situation?
We actually were pursuing an update to their municipal services review. In November, we got a draft from their, at the time, acting, I don't know if he was interim or acting general manager, reviewed and provided comments on that draft. The board made a decision subsequent to that to not renew the contract of the general manager. We did meet with staff from Sac Suburban Water District, the GM, and the chair of the board of the Del Paso Manor Water District. The chair requested a little bit of a timeout since they didn't have adequate staff to move ahead with the response. They were in the recruitment process for a new GM. I agreed that it would be appropriate to allow the new party to come on board, become a little bit more familiar with operations, and we were going to come back probably June or so and touch base with the district to see what the staffing status is, and then hopefully move forward.
But the goal of those meetings is to either settle out the current situation or bring in a buyer?
Well, I think there's
or consolidation.
Right. There's many things being heard, little being adopted, written. But right now they have a lifeline, for lack of a better term, contract for support for licensed personnel with Sac Suburban. That's going on a monthly basis. Yeah. And I think they're looking to, the district, Del Paso Manor, is looking to retain a consulting, a full-service consulting group to run the day-to-day operations, and out of that perhaps would be general manager derived. So as I say, there was a request by the board chair was for a timeout, and that's where we are right now. We have the draft. I thought the draft was a very good beginning. And I think what we'll be able to do with the draft, much like we've done with some other districts, is it was an administrative draft thus far. So we hadn't, when we get a draft that's coming to your commission, we post it on our website, we make folks aware of what's in there, and then if there are issues, people contribute to the process through the MSR, and then it's brought to your commission for consideration. So I think that instrument still is viable for us to use, and I'd like to get to a point where some of the holes that are in there because of the turnover in staffing can be filled in so that it's of greater information benefit to the public, and then let's put it out there and let the public start giving us. I thought this was a thoughtful letter that raised a lot of points that I'm going to fold in for my consideration of what I see in the draft coming forward.
So for this particular letter, did you respond to him in some way?
I just with the comments I provided to the commission just now.
Okay. Thank you.
Are you satisfied with that, Ms. Peters? Or do you want any follow-up action or report back or anything?
Sounds like they're on a path.
Okay.
To bring it before us. I don't know if we'll have an answer or not, but.
All right, well, keep us posted, and in particular, Ms. Peters, if you would, Mr. Lockhart.
Absolutely.
Okay, no other announcements? Not seeing anyone else chimed up? This all-female board is done in less than 30 minutes. Thank you very much. We are adjourned.
How did that happen? Overnight.